Okay guys, for this Old World Wednesday, we're going to be diving back in and giving another video on some scenery. So as you guys know, I have quite a large collection of Old World, and that does indeed include a lot of scenery. Some of the scenery has come back in like recent times and it can be just bought new. I want to get some of my old kind of bashed and damaged pieces, and I want to restore them back to what they should have looked like when I did them years ago, and get games around them and get involved. I hate seeing them being wasted. One of the things that has been annoying me the most is my Forgeworld well. I did a Forgeworld well many years ago, and I'll talk a little bit about that later in the video, but it was not done correctly and it has not been loved since then. So in today's video, I'm going to take it from the state that it was at the beginning of the video to this beautiful little piece of scatter terrain that it is now. Super pleased to have it looking this fresh and this nice amongst the other pieces that I've already done for this video series. We've already done one of the newer, older towers and a set of the traditional walls and fences. And in some videos soon, we are going to be doing, of course, the fortified manor, watchtower, normal houses, and all those other bits and pieces. So if you're excited for those, then you'll enjoy this. Okay, this is the previous job I did on said scenery piece. As you can see, it is kind of done, but it is a flat coat of red, a flat coat of grey, a flat coat of brown, some flock, and I thought that that was good enough. Which, it's not. It's absolutely awful. It's atrocious. So I'm going to try and bring this poor little thing back to life in today's video. The first thing I did, which I did have to do off camera, was submerge it all in kind of nearly boiling water. If you go boiling water, it gets a bit warpy. But basically it was not the like roof part, but the base of it got submerged in water. And why is that? Because all the flock and stuff was kind of glued on using PVA glue. So once you submerge that, kind of reactivates the PVA glue, and you can scrub it off with kind of like a rough toothbrush or a nice brush or something like that to clear it off. After I managed to remove what I could, I very carefully removed the roof, which I had attached using lumps of green stuff and super glue. Why? I don't know. It was done after, and the green stuff was still green. It wasn't even painted, because that's what people do. So anyway, removed the roof to get easy access, clean off the green stuff, which once again, don't really know why I used that, and started to remove any of the excess kind of material that existed on the piece. This was maybe only a few seconds of footage in the video, but it actually did take about an hour for me to go around and remove things like old green stuff. Or you can even see in amongst what I'm scrubbing now, some of the PVA glue, because the ground is so textured, it really did grip the PVA glue. So trying to remove as much of the old glue and old flaky paint as possible. I wanted to make sure that none of the kind of loose paint would still be there, because if I sprayed over the top of that, then of course that loose paint is underneath the fresh coat and it's still going to chip and scratch, and that's not what we want. We want this to be done for the last time in today's video. An interesting thing about this particular scenery piece as to where I got it from, actually originally bought it from the Forgeworld offices. When I worked as a sales assistant for Games Workshop before I even managed the stores many years ago, went on a training thing over to Warmer World, and back in those days you could, as a staff member, walk into the Forgeworld offices, talk to the guys there, and basically create and generate an order, and the money for it would come out of your next paycheck. So you could just say, I want this and this, and they go, yeah, no problem, fill in that form, sign your name, ID or whatever, boom, and then the stuff would just show up, which was great. So I went to ask those guys if there was any of the old Forgeworld fantasy scenery left, because I really wanted a nice scenery board. This was long before things like 3D printers kind of existed and stuff. And they very kindly said, no, all that stuff is gone, but there is in fact 2 wells left. And I went, I'll have both, please. So I ordered 2 wells. Since then I've lost one of them. Never got built. It was in a Forgeworld packet. I don't know where it is. Somewhere. I don't actually think it's anywhere in my studio. I think it's genuinely gone. So where that thing is now, I do not know. I hope somebody has it who'll love it and have painted it and will use it in games, and it hasn't ended up in a skip somewhere. Okay, after we got as much of this model cleaned off as possible, you see that I managed to scrape off flakes of paint and stuff. I managed to get a solid coat of grey across. It's kind of like a black grey. It's dark grey or raven grey. It's just a really nice spray, and I gave the whole thing a coat of that. Nice solid coat. I feel like all the paint is secure and I could start painting it up. I then went for a light coat of classic grey or standard grey and gave that a little bit of a dusting over the rock areas. Hit that with a brown wash, agric search shade, as you see then. And then it's time to just dry brush up the stone. So I'm going to go for Dawnstone and then Celestial Grey. So the reason I'm going for these is it's the same dry brushing, it's the same technique, same grey, same wash and same highlights as I did for my old world walls, my walls and fences that I did, and the tower that you saw at the start of this video. That means that all the rocks that exist across all my old world scenery will match and it will look like a cohesive kind of set of scenery when deployed on the table, which I think is really cool and it's really going to stand out. And you can see how awesome the flagstones kind of look after a quick dry brush. Like I said, jumping up the Celestial Grey for a lighter dry brush, just hitting the kind of hard edges, catching that detail. You can actually see how much detail was actually sculpted into each of the flagstones. They are pockmarked and they are worn and they're distressed, like they're really old. You could leave the roof off this thing and have it be like an abandoned old well that's no longer in service. Therefore, you don't have to put any water in it or anything like that. And I think that would actually be really cool. And if I ever do find that second one, that may be something I do. But because I have an entire town's worth of like actual official scenery, like town scenery, I thought I might as well try and get a nice well for the center of town. I think that would be really nice. Wildwood was then brought in and I basically used this as the base coat for all of the earth materials, everything around the well itself. Contrast will obviously feed in through all those gaps and all that kind of texture that we talked about earlier. That was really kind of a nuisance to get glue out of. And contrast will mean base coating this will only take a couple of minutes as opposed to stabbing it with just normal acrylic paint and trying to get full coverage, which would be a pain in the backside. So I'm very grateful to have things like contrast to be able to do these steps very, very fast. Okay, time to work on the roof, which I sprayed upside down because I wanted to get as much spray into all the kind of inner workings and detail. Obviously, the roof bit on the top has a little bit missing where it was held by some blue tack. We can cover that up in a minute. I used Katachan Flesh Brown paint and gave all of the interior of this thing a nice dry brush, not dry brush, more of an overbrush to get as much of it covered in brown as possible. I then jumped up to a slightly more khaki brown and then I gave all the wood a light dry brush again. I don't think the wood is going to be a standout feature of this well. The roof will definitely steal the attention away from the top half of the model, and all the flagstones and kind of mossy effect that we're going to be doing later will steal the attention away from the bottom half. So I decided not to spend a whole heap of time, dry brushing up the wood a lot. This is where I'm leaving it, apart from the moss that I'll do later. But other than that, I think this works great. We are then going to go for Corn Red, Mephiston Red, and Evil Sun Scarlet as dry brushes across the top of this roof. It will take absolutely no time at all, but it will leave a nice effect. And the roofs that I did for the tower that you've seen earlier are this same color as well. So once again, another tip to help these two scenery pieces blend together and look like they're part of the same set or the same town or settlement or whatever you want to do with that. Like I said, there was previously an entire set of Forgeworld fantasy scenery built, like a blacksmith and a merchant house and a shop, all those kind of cool buildings, stables. I wish I had them all, but at this point now, they're not like amazing pieces because you can just get nice buildings and 3D print them yourself. So many people do fantasy scenery that I don't think it's that much of a loss, but my completionist silly brain would love a completed set of that scenery, even for display in a cabinet at some stage. But I don't think that's ever going to be the case. They go for extortionate amounts of money online and eBay and stuff. And I just can't justify it when I already have so many nice fantasy buildings built and painted and usable for my games. Okay, time to build up that ground texture after the contrast has dried. So we're going to go for a Mornfang Brown, and we're going to go for a kind of a heavy-ish dry brush across all of that soil. Like I said, there's so much awesome texture in it that it catches dry brush very well. You can even see that the kind of muddy ground leading up to the trough of water is actually covered in hoof prints, as people obviously brought their horse there to have a drink, which I think is a beautiful extra like step, an extra touch. You can see there's actually a little bit of a plug, a hole, to let the water out of the trough, and with that there's like these puddles and pools of water in the mud. Another beautiful touch. A lot of thought has gone into the creation of these pieces, and that's why I just think they deserve some love and attention. Rise of Rust was then used for the next dry brush, a lighter dry brush across all that texture and all that beautiful soil, or earth, whatever you want to do it. Obviously, redoing the soil, you could change the entire field. It's kind of a well lost in the desert and do like loads of sand texture and stuff, and that would look just as cool. Like I said, God, I wish I could find the second one, because then maybe I would do an alternate scheme of it, but as it currently stands, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I grabbed a bone paint then and did a light dry brush across the top of all that soil again. Once again, help it blend it all together. Nice natural tones, and I think it finishes off soil really, really nice. I think soil can look a little bit too rich if left brown. Like, when have you ever actually looked down on a walk and the soil has been like chocolate brown? It doesn't really happen. So I think this texture tone, I think suits it just a little bit better. Okay, the base is starting to look really good. Now I just want to add a little bit of extra detail with a technical paint. And for this, we are going to grab the moss from the Dirty Down range. If you're using this, you got to shake it like there's no tomorrow, and include is to stir it. So I always crack open the top. I have a little needle file that's not really a file anymore. I use that to stir up all the gunk in the bottom, make sure it's all spread around. It's just an important step when working with these kind of paints. And then I get an old brush. You don't want a nice brush for this stuff. And then I just feed it around the model, flagstones, anywhere that water would settle and moss would grow. So on an old well like this, I reckon between all the flagstones would be green. Therefore, I take my time, I use the fine point of the brush, and I paint this moss into all the crevices and all the cracks in between every flagstone. And green, I feed it around the bottom of the well, the top, inside the trough where water has dried over time. There would be old moss growing in it. The roof, with all the old gunk and stuff caught in the shingles, I'm going to feed that in there as well. This didn't turn as green as I would have liked it to on the shingles. I don't know whether, once again, I didn't shake this pot particularly enough, and it didn't have the effect. Usually it's supposed to, like, after it dries, it kind of turns green and blossoms up and it looks like moss. Didn't really happen on the roof. That's okay. I can go and give it another shake and give it another coat and it should happen. So I'm not too worried about that. It gave me exactly the effect that I wanted on the base. I fed it into where that trough spills water out into the soil. Just a really nice, like, standout, like you put so much effort into creating this scenery piece when really I didn't. No step that I did was slow or tedious or you know, just it was a very quick process to get this well. It took more time to clean it off than it did to paint it back up again. I used some grass tufts. I need to do a restock on grass tufts. I need to do a restock on some basic material because I was actually out of PVA glue. I had intended to, once again, have some patches of PVA glue and add some static grass to this thing. I will do it later on, but I couldn't find any PVA glue in the studio, so that's a bit of a shame. So I left it off for now, a few big grass tufts, and this is our finished Forgeworld well. It's a very, honestly, a rare piece of scenery. Not a lot of people bought them back in the day, and I feel very privileged to have one in my collection now. I love how it looks. I can't wait to put it in the middle of an old world game and have maybe even armies fighting over the control of a source of a well is super important when fighting wars, so maybe that's something we could do. A couple of still images to give you guys an example of what this thing would look like on the tabletop. If you enjoyed the video, do the usual thing, like, comment, subscribe, check out Patreon and all that other goodness. All that is linked below. Thank you guys so much.